Hello, everyone. My name is J.J. Koch. I'm the County Commissioner for District 2. First, I want to thank you for your assistance in what is an unprecedented time, at least for our lifetimes. In human history, we certainly have dealt with viruses as pernicious as COVID-19, but it certainly has not been the regular order of business for our country or the entire world for quite some time. So we are certainly all in this thing together. I know that there's been some questions that have come up regarding what is the county's role, what is the municipality's role, and of course, what is the state doing in all of this. Might be helpful just to go back to a quick primer on kind of what the Texas Constitution lays out. Cities are chartered, and y'all can do what your charter says until the state government says, nope, we're preempting on that piece. We're not going to let you do that. Counties, on the other hand, are different. Everything that we do is prescribed by the local government code. So we're given, kind of a strict mother may I relationship, and we are the true unfunded mandate of the states. We're the arm of the state, particularly when it comes to the jails and some of these other pieces that you're familiar with. So with that in mind, you're familiar now with Judge Jenkins's orders. He issued his first order on March 12th. The Commissioner's Court came together and affirmed that power through March 3rd. The governor issued a state of disaster for Texas. Now, while it may be more kind of inside baseball, if for some reason our Commissioner's Court were to not reauthorize the judge on April 3rd, he would still have his extraordinary powers under the governor's declaration. They would be more narrowly tailored to only follow the pieces of the governor's order that he has already expressed. The current Dallas County orders go further than what the state has done. So that's currently something that's part of discussion, but at least for your finer understanding and kind of get a little understanding of how those interplay. On March 19th, is when the Commissioner's Court came together and extended those powers for the county judge until April 3rd. There's been some questions regarding evictions, and I know that's been something that's been discussed on a whole host of forums. There are two outstanding orders regarding evictions. One is from the Texas Supreme Court, and that halts all residential evictions until April 19th. Now, going back to what I was saying, that there's kind of the governor's powers as they're passed down to the county judge, and then there's also the statutory power that the Commissioner's Court can continue to give him. The judge issued on March 21st an order stating that no one shall be evicted in a residential setting until May 20th. So the statewide order gets you to April 19th. The Dallas County specific order halts all residential evictions until May 20th. And of course, those can be renewed again, either if the Commissioner's Court continues to renew the judge's power, or if the governor decides to continue to allow the order to stay in place that has been put forth by the Texas Supreme Court. So some other pieces that folks have been concerned about, and a big piece of concern for a lot of folks, is testing. Once we have good testing online, we should be able to then track our cases, but also begin to properly give people care. Many of you are aware that there are two drive-through testing spots. One of them is at Ellis Fieldhouse, closer to South Dallas, and the other is at the American Airlines Center. Those two testing sites have a pretty strict criteria. Certain symptoms need to be in place, including that over 99.6 fever, and you have to be part of certain categories, certain types of essential workers, or in certain vulnerable groups. Both of those locations have 250 tests. They have been running out. They are not currently running those tests. Today is the 28th. Those two drive-through centers were closed down today for the entirety of the day because of the storms, and also to replenish some of the testing supplies. Parkland Hospital also has testing, but that is by appointment only. Typically, folks will go to their primary care physician and be able to coordinate that. There is some coordination directly through Parkland when you call those folks. Another area that sadly, that the county is having to step up on is enforcement regarding domestic violence related issues. More folks are staying home, and in this highly stressful time, unfortunately, some of our male citizens are not stepping up to the challenge appropriately. Childhelp.org is resources for parents and children to protect our most precious and vulnerable citizens. The Texas Abuse Hotline at 1-800-252-5400 is an important resource to get people to shelters that are close by. Going to a shelter during this time of shelter in place is an extremely difficult task, and is certainly one that needs to be well planned out on the part of those that are escaping danger. Continue to use 211 and 311. 211 is more for finding community resources. So when you do have these questions, someone forgets the number to call, someone needs to be put in touch with either a shelter or food, 211 is there. And use 311 for reporting violations regarding the social distancing, or if non-essential businesses are operating. I think as many people are starting to quickly understand, there are not enough law enforcement resources throughout Dallas County. I mean, there's some municipalities that have excellent, including Farmers Branch, have excellent police forces, but they were kept busy under normal times. In these extraordinary times, they're certainly going to need some help from our responsible citizenry to report folks that are out of line or way out of line. Breaking up gatherings is going to be critical if we're going to flatten the curve. There's also additional resources. The North Texas Behavioral Authority has a hotline specifically for stress and anxiety related to the issues created by COVID-19, job loss, conflict within families. There's certainly more problems that can compound upon themselves by the problems that are going out in the world. So that phone number is 833-251-7544. And that's North Texas Behavioral Authority, also known as NIPA. They've done a good job in stepping up to help us with that. I'm just going to go over some of the programs, and they can kind of be searched. These are at least things that not necessarily coordinated through the county, but we certainly discussed with these partners these programs. Allstate Insurance is allowing special payment plans. Ambit Energy, and as many of the energy companies are allowing for folks to defer their payments, AT&T will not terminate services for 60 days. Charter Spectrum is offering free broadband and Wi-Fi for students kindergarten through 12. Comcast is already offering a free service. They're offering a free service for low-income families, regardless of student status. Dallas Water Utilities, which is not something that Farmers Branch folks need to deal with. Interfaith Family Services are helping homeless families find temporary shelter. They can be reached at 214-827-7220. Reliant is another one of those partners that is waiving and extending payment plans for those that are having trouble keeping the lights on. St. Jude Center for Senior Housing for the Homeless is ramping up their efforts to bring folks into shelter in places where they can simply wash their hands. TXU is another power company that is offering waiving late fees and extending their payments, and Verizon is doing the same thing for its customers. We are going to continue to monitor the problems that are going on at our jail. We do have a DSO officer that has tested positive for COVID-19, and a number, about 19 of our folks that are in the jail are also positive. So we're going to work with our local law enforcement agencies to better transfer individuals into the county jail when necessary, making sure that we keep our first responders safe. We have just recently received a number of donations and also made major purchases of PPE, personal protective gear. I know that our sheriff's jailers and sheriff's officers, the deputies, will be getting a bulk of those. Some of that gear will be used at HHS, and I know that we'll be making available some of those to our partners in law enforcement in the other municipalities. That is the majority of what I have for you today. You can go to dallascounty.org/COVID-19 to learn more about programs, efforts, the specific orders that have been issued by the judge. And just as a reminder again, the Commissioner's Court gets together to re-up the general power. The judge, though, is the one that has the power to issue those specific orders under that disaster declaration, and he'll continue to do so. One of those that's probably important to touch upon is the construction rules that came out. Unfortunately, a rumor got out ahead of the truth, was that the judge was contemplating shutting down both residential and commercial construction, and that was very far from the truth. It was rather that he was going to issue an order requiring those essential businesses, those construction businesses, to follow the guidelines that were issued by OSHA and by the U.S. home builders guidelines they had out there. And really what that boils down to is taking temperatures as people come in. If anyone has over 99.6, they're sent home without, docking a pay and so forth. Making sure that they have either wash basins or have enough toilet facilities available for folks. This largely came on the heels of the discovery of an individual that tested positive for COVID-19 that was working out on the new Ranger Stadium and exposed a number of folks on a construction site. So we're just going to make sure that our essential businesses are doing what they need to do to keep open. That's probably the next level danger. I mean, the first level danger that we face, of course, was we're shutting down these quote unquote non-essential businesses. The economic damage was going to be and has been tremendously devastating to our local economy, and it's going to be something that we're digging out, if not for the entirety of this next year, well into 2021. The last thing we need is, while keeping our essential businesses open, if they're not, following the best practices, that here we are making all these sacrifices to bend the curve, flatten the curve, and if they're not keeping their eye on the ball, they're going to continue to spread the virus and end up undermining all of our larger efforts. So really that's the take home, particularly because, we know how construction is. Sometimes these guys are a little fast and loose. We need everyone who's in an essential business that has people coming into the office to make sure that they are really, being the hall monitors, making sure that people are practicing social distancing and taking people's temperatures on the way in. And I think the best way to say that is, if you want to look at the success of Taiwan and South Korea, taking temperatures has been one of the ways they've had a lot of success. They're good at social distancing. They just, they've done a great job of that. They lock down things quickly, but they've been taking temperatures where anyone goes. And that is fortunately one of the bright line leading indicators of someone who's infected, is that they, before they have the major fever break, the temperature does rise, and there's 1 or 2 days before they become highly symptomatic and really, do a good job of pumping the virus out for everyone to unfortunately experience. So I think it's incumbent upon us in government that we are taking temperatures of our essential employees. We're making sure that, we are those good employers that make sure that, everyone that can be home is home. Everyone else is 6 feet apart. in that, we are taking temperatures. That's really going to be one of those things, one of those simple things, wash your hands, don't touch your face. And when it comes to building protocols around taking people's temperatures, we're going to be able to fight off a lot of this with those good practices. I look forward to any other questions you may have. I'm happy to return and come back on video on another day. I'm always available by email, jj.koch@dallascounty.org. Stay strong on this thing. Make sure to just keep reminding people that, if we do those things we're supposed to do and we get to that flattened curve as quickly as possible, we're going to be able to return and recuperate our economy as quickly as possible. So thank you for all the hard work that you're doing, and I look forward to talking to you soon.